Iowa called for Trump, so there goes that nonsense. I'm getting revved up here on a significant rant. But she's not gonna be like, no, I won, I don't care what the court say, I don't care, I won. Okay, it's about a 0% chance. Only a bitch like Trump does that. So let's keep it real on that. And so if you say it's super hard to beat him in a primary because of the lying sons of bitches on mainstream media who will smear you to no end, we gotta destroy that mainstream media that is filled with lies on top of lies, so the next time that some son of a bitch on MSNBC or in the Democratic Party tells you, oh no, be a good boy and girl, be civil, and vote for Democratic leaders, they know what they're doing. Those are the same goddamn liars that told you that Joe Biden was totally fine. Wakey, wakey. And all they ever do is deliver loss after loss after loss. Shush, shush. These guys are obvious liars. Fire them all. Fire them all. Wakey, wakey. Young Turks, we'll be back. You know that viral video you saw of me?
Less than 1%. I'm sorry. That one actually not less than 1%. That 1%. 1% of 316, 5341.
Uh-oh. Disaster. Okay, the mood has immediately changed.
First of all, it's bull. You know, that was a misnomer about 2016. I wasn't sad at all.
Pennsylvania was called for Donald Trump.
It's over. Okay. There you go. Donald Trump, next president of the United States of America.
She's up in New Hampshire.
Have the national organizations called the election?
I haven't seen it.
I mean, he
Not
won
yet.
Pennsylvania. What the fuck are you guys waiting for? It's over.
Alaska could swing.
It's over.
I wasn't sad at all. First of all, it's bull. Let's go! Election day on the Young Turks. Cenk, Anna Kasparin with you guys, live from the Poly Market Studios. All right, guys, we've got an hour of the show ahead for you guys, and then we're going to go straight into election coverage. In fact, the election coverage has begun because polls just closed in Indiana and Kentucky. Those two states will obviously have no effect on the election, but still, should Kamala Harris have gone on Rogan? I don't know. Kamala Harris is a mystery to me. I don't know that she could do a 3-hour interview. I don't know that she could have a real conversation and sound like a normal human being and not a fake politician. I'm being honest. Oh yeah, I'll tell you, you know, I got this mom and I got this grandma and I got the cemetery where I buried all my family because I'm the Zodiac killer. No, okay, that's Ted Cruz.
None of that came up.
All right, so Kentucky's been called for Donald Trump. Okay, so not surprising. That was Indiana and Kentucky were the first states to close. Those will not be closed, so hence Kentucky gets called immediately. I want to jump right to a call. This one's also not surprising. You'll get a lot of non-surprising calls throughout the night. West Virginia has been called. Jill Stein. Okay. No, of course, Donald Trump has won West Virginia, unfortunately. But North Carolina is a critical state. So now the votes coming in that we're reporting to you from North Carolina are real votes. Usually what happens with establishment Democrats is they'll get angry at Arab voters and Muslim voters. And then they'll say, it was your fault. And you made us have Trump. That's it, we're not doing anything for you.
Donald Trump did win South Carolina. Harris got Rhode Island and Connecticut, my home state. She got Massachusetts as well. Again, no surprise. Hey, Elizabeth Warren is still going to be a senator. Not really surprising anyone. Oklahoma went to Trump, as of course it would. He also, and this is not a swing state, but there had been hopes perhaps that some sort of landslide could lead to her winning it. But Trump has won Florida, which is unfortunate after all they went through during the pandemic, that they'd want him in charge once again, but that's what they're deciding to do.
Total, in my opinion, the Florida Democratic Party is the most incompetent party I have ever seen. And they're also, unsurprisingly, awful in the primaries. They don't allow for primaries. They're the ones that canceled the primary election this time around. Bunch of incompetent idiots that run that party and run it into the ground and have destroyed the Democratic Party in Florida. And this guy says, if Trump wins, I'm going to turn these guys into my concubine.
Come on.
So like basically threatening to rape young males. And MAGA's like, yeah. Okay, wait, that's not a yeah. I'm so tough, I'm going to have gay sex with you. Okay, all right. I mean,
he also said that they would be both for sex and for food. implying that he would have sex with them and then cannibalize them.
Well, he seems like a swell guy.
How many times have you heard Donald Trump say, "Don't worry, we sent it to the states. It's up to the people. You can decide. Some states more liberal, some not."
But first, I promised some Trump supporters super chats that I would read as well, absurd or not. A cool guy wrote in, Anna got hotter when she became a conservative. Here for the meltdown.
I'm
Hilarious.
not conservative.
She's not conservative, and I think she looks the same, but that's neither here nor there.
I mean, a bit of a glow up. I mean, I'm kidding. I do look the same.
Okay, I think I got hotter. No, Matt Guyver said, Trump supporter here, Anna definitely gets hotter further right she goes, and John is okay in my book. Okay, this whole thing is about her getting hotter or her becoming conservative. All right, first, give me a vibe check here. So when we came into the day, both Democrats and Republicans were super excited. They were both positive that they were going to win. So how are you feeling right now? Do you have a sense of the race and how it's going to end up?
Former President Donald J. Trump is up in the Electoral College.
As it turns out, just as you're on here, Ohio has been called. So Trump has won Ohio.
Well, I knew he was going to win Ohio, yeah.
Yeah.
I predicted that.
Yeah, so it's not surprising. Ohio used to be a swing state. Unfortunately, it's not anymore. It's largely
ruby red.
Yeah, it's largely red nowadays. So, in fact, as we were talking, Texas has been called for Donald Trump. So, again, not the important race there because we already had that in Trump's column. The important race is Cruz versus Allred, but Cruz doing pretty well there right now. Not over, but it looks good for him.
An NBC News exit poll in the state of Wisconsin shows that Trump has doubled his support among black voters in the state. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, all she has to do is hold the blue wall. That is true. But some of the news here, not great in my opinion.
But anyway, I don't know if these were formally called, but I guess it is now fairly definitive that in Florida, both the marijuana legalization and abortion rights ballot measures have failed, like votes in the Senate fail. They had majority support, but the majority doesn't matter because the Republicans are anti-democracy.
Why is it that you have to get to 60% to win? What the hell kind of rule is that? So both abortion and marijuana would have won easily in Florida if we had a real democracy and you had to get past 50%. So what else is DeSantis going to do? Oh, I don't like you guys having any goddamn power. I'm going to make ballot measures now 98%. You got to get to 98%. Otherwise, no, whatever we say, you have to deal with for the rest of your life. So look, guys, right now, election is still 50-50. But if the Democrats wind up losing, both progressives and the MAGA are going to want to hear what I have to say. Because it isn't going to be being mad at Trump or being sad. And, you know, that was a misnomer about 2016. I wasn't sad at all.
Pennsylvania was called for Donald Trump.
It's over. Okay. So there you go. Donald Trump, next president of the United States of America.
She's up in New Hampshire.
Have the national organizations called the election?
I haven't seen it.
I mean, he
Not
won
yet.
Pennsylvania. What the fuck are you guys waiting for? It's over.
Alaska could swing.
It's over.
I wasn't sad at all. As Ida Rodriguez points out all the time, I was mad. And I was mad at the Democratic Party. And so here we are again in a 50-50 race with a guy that I view to be a syphilitic clown. So great job, Democratic Party. You got us on pins and needles. Can you beat an utter moron who did a coup attempt against America? And you guys are at 50-50. But I'll save that for later in the night. Can you say that number again about the exit poll in Wisconsin?
Yeah, it's an NBC News exit poll in the state of Wisconsin shows that Trump has doubled his support among black voters in that state.
I know Democrats, they'll learn no lesson at all. In fact, they'll learn the opposite lesson. They'll be like, nailed it. Our answer going forward is more Cheneys. If you think Donald Trump tried to destroy democracy and you're in the Democratic leadership and you barely beat him, that is not like something to go right home about and brag about. And if you lose to him, but that's the thing, they're never going to learn a lesson. Look, guys, I need you to understand this. The establishment is not interested in learning lessons. They're interested in only one thing, the money, Lebowski. I got to go to Georgia and North Carolina because I think these are so important here with the amount of votes in. I'm coming to conclusions. Let's go to Georgia first.
Okay, Georgia first. Both are still quite tight. I mean, he's up by 5 points in Georgia. We've still got a quarter of the vote to come in. It is leaning towards him. We've been going county to county. He's up in some, she's up in others. We don't know until the final votes come in. But he is definitely, look, if you had to put money on these two states, you would assume that he would win both of these states at this point.
Yeah, no, North Carolina is less clear. I want to go to that next. Georgia, I'm almost done with.
I wouldn't be done with Georgia.
But he's got a 5-point lead with only a quarter left.
A quarter, but you don't know where those votes come from. It's not about 100%. It's about where those votes are.
First of all, with the Democrats, with 76% reporting in, it's getting narrower and narrower. You can't have it go much past 5%, in my opinion.
Most of that is in, and so you look at Fulton County right now, 84% is in, and that's three.
Okay, I'm
three
back
to one.
to Trump's almost definitely going to win Georgia then. If 84% of Fulton County is in, and he is a 5-point lead, that doesn't look good. Farron, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
All right, great. So, guys, let's go to North Carolina right away.
Okay.
I want to go to results.
Yeah, so we're still waiting for just about 1/4 of the vote to come in, but at 76%, he is up by now 7 points. And so that is looking less and less likely to flip at this point. I would say very unlikely.
In fact, Decision Desk has already called it. In fact, let's do a poll now right here live on the chat too. Who's going to win, Kamala Harris or Donald Trump? But North Carolina is in deep trouble. So if it's not gone, as Decision Desk says, it's close to gone. So that puts us in a very perilous spot. Now, having said that, what percentage is reporting in North Carolina? 76% reporting you're down by 7. You're in a world of trouble. You're like, yes, it matters which counties, but you're still in a world of trouble. And so much trouble that one of the organizations has already called it. Okay, now let's go to Georgia.
Yeah, by the way, Iowa has been called by CNN at least for Trump.
Iowa called for Trump, so there goes that nonsense. I'm getting revved up here on a significant rant. So, because Kamala Harris is not winning, and the people who thought that Kamala Harris was going to win a landslide are totally wrong.
There weren't a ton of people who thought that. I mean,
almost every Democrat I talked to thought that.
Well, I
didn't see a lot of that.
I said the blue wall is going to go to Harris, and may be wrong about that. But honestly, I don't think that there were a lot of people. There were people who said if it's a landslide, they would predict that it was a Harris landslide, not a Trump landslide, which is different than saying they were predicting it's a landslide.
Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to the discussion of the terms of landslide or big win or whatever. But no matter how you slice it, big win for Kamala Harris, poof, gone. That's not going to happen. A big win for Donald Trump is still on the board. A win for Kamala Harris is still on the board. Let's go to Georgia.
Okay, so in Georgia, we're theoretically closer to a call, even though it is a tighter race. So he's up by 3 points right now. The issue is that there's only 9% of the vote left to be counted, and so it is quite likely at this point that he will end up winning that.
Yeah, so I was very uncertain about this election. It turns out I was right to be uncertain. I think everybody was full of crap. There's no landslide in either direction. Everybody was in their delusional bubble. I know the problem for Democrats in Florida isn't that they haven't spent enough money, to be honest, or time. The problem is they're the establishment, and people hate the establishment. But it's never going to get through their thick heads. So again, we come back to the blue wall. Again, Kamala Harris still has plenty chance to win. But guys, this is definitely not a call. But if you made me guess right now who's going to win, Trump. Not only because he's leading in those states by a little bit, but Virginia is deeply concerning. Can you pull up Virginia? So when I was on break, I noticed Virginia, and that's where I was going to go next.
She's currently up by about 2% with 79% in.
That is very bad news. I've been 50-50 on who's going to win for the last 2 months or so. Maybe even longer. And I've been 50-50 the entire day, the entire night. I am no longer 50-50. I think Trump has at least a 75% chance of winning at this point. So
I don't know where you get that, but
okay. I'm getting it from my experience in covering elections.
I know.
So you're losing. So you're barely winning in Virginia. You're losing in all of your blue wall states. And yes, you can come back. But look at the trend, Michael. I mean, if it was like spotty, okay, you
But
say
this
spotty.
is where we were in 2020. We knew it was going to be a close election. You
No,
were
we
right
weren't.
this morning. Yeah, it basically is where we were. It doesn't look as good as you wanted it to, but it's. I think to say that it's 75% is slightly arbitrary.
Yeah, it's not arbitrary at all.
Okay.
It's 75%.
I didn't think you would say it. It was 100%.
Yeah.
It was 100% that you were going to say it's not arbitrary.
Yeah, and so guys, look, it's not like I'm shy about my opinions, and it's not like I was certain about anything. I've never been less certain in my life. So when you're trailing in all the states, you're more likely to lose than you are to win. Not rocket science.
If she wins, it is going to be such a razor thin popular vote margin. And I don't know that they're going to be able to pull it out at this point. I genuinely don't. I know we got a long time, probably some states we don't even know till tomorrow or after, but yeah, my God, it does not look good right now.
I'm in the 68.2%. That's not arbitrary. I've done the calculations. I would rather be Donald Trump in this case. Of course, in that event, I'd probably end up jumping into a volcano or something like that. But electorally, I would prefer to be him.
Right now, the only state where she seems to be doing a little bit better than expected is Arizona. And so if you're only doing better than expected in one state and you're doing worse than expected in all the other states, that's not good news, I'll tell you that. That's not complicated. So, look, she can still pull it out. And by the way, Trump people, just because someone is trailing and then they come back and win does not mean cheating. So if Kamala Harris loses, here's my prediction. She concedes right away, okay? And so whatever the time frame of right away is, that she's not going to be like, no, I won. I don't care what the court say. I don't care. I won. Okay, it's about a 0% chance. Only a bitch like Trump does that. So let's keep it real on that. So, okay, but that right now, apparently, I think that there's a 3/4 chance that ridiculous clown of a man is going to be our president for another unbearable 4 years. Democrats have to, this current batch of Democratic leadership has to be defeated in primaries. They're losers through and through. They'll never learn any lessons. That this campaign that Kamala Harris ran was insipid. Just a big nothing burger. So, and you look, I don't think Kamala Harris should have come on this show. She can't handle this show. She can't handle anything but talking points. But Tim Walz, what are you doing? We got all excited about Tim Walz. He's a populist guy. He's a guy who's proven that he can get bills passed, got great bills passed in Minnesota. And you don't even want to go on the largest progressive show because they were too busy kissing Liz Cheney's ass. They ran a terrible campaign. Rely on wrote in a super chat, got to give Cenk a few for keeping it real. Well, thank you, appreciate that. I'm really looking forward to Elon Musk running the entire government because he was a giant donor of Donald Trump. That's going to be fun for everybody. Guess who's going to get giant tax cuts? Guess who's going to get deregulation? Oh, right, Elon Musk. Okay.
Populism.
Yeah, oh yes, let's root for the biggest, wealthiest guy in the world because we're populous, and let's lend out our brain to a couple of billionaires while pretending to be populous. But they got hoodwinked by a couple of legendary con men. That's my opinion. But if I'm right and Trump wins tonight, well, then you're going to get to see it for 4 awful years. Yep. He's going to violate one promise after another, and it's going to be an epic disaster. And he's going to break a lot of things. I'm not curious about Fox News. Fox News is a bunch of ass kissers. So whoever's in charge, Rupert Murdoch will kiss their ass to get his tax cuts and deregulation and all that stuff. Newsmax and OAN, they're like, no, we're bigger ass kissers than Fox News. So they're never going to turn around. I mean, if I had to bet, I would bet that John is probably right. I think you got at least that they'll just go and kiss his ass, right? And they'll just be like, oh yeah, Donald Trump. Oh, we're for freedom, but he's arresting people who protest? Great, we love it. Take away their freedom, right? Oh, he wants to shoot them in the leg. Oh, great, yeah, let's shoot protesters. Screw freedom, right? So we'll see. My guess is that they're going to be probably the majority of them are going to be enormous hypocrites, but maybe there will be a fraction that actually realize what's going on. Okay, John, go back to North Carolina because here comes Kamala Harris.
Okay, so as of what I have right now with 88% of the vote in, it's still a 3-point race, according
I
to the
saw
New
it
York Times
close to
release.
2. Did it get any tighter?
Okay, let's see if we can get, I apologize for that. A 2.7.
2.7 with 86% reporting?
88%.
88. All right. Not impossible. All right. Next TYT reporter says this feels like a red mirage. It could be. CB1 hilariously says, I'm sure the real estate guy will fix housing. Of course, that's a joke because there's no chance that Donald Trump is either going to fix housing or even going to try to fix housing. He has no plan. He has no concepts of a plan.
Speaking of Cuyahoga County, the Senate I've been looking at, and it's not looking terrific right now.
That's what I was going to go to next.
Sherrod Brown with 91% of the vote is down 5%.
That's over.
Well, there you go again.
You're going to close 5 points.
Cuyahoga County. Cuyahoga.
So at least the New York Times is calling North Carolina for Trump.
So that's 2 calls. It's over. North Carolina for Trump. Okay, North Carolina's gone. That is an enormous moment in this election. Enormous. She must hold the blue wall. So in a sense, Trump, for the 88th time in his life, got spectacularly lucky.
Yeah.
His dad gives him $413 million. He blows it all. And then Jeff Zucker comes along at NBC and goes, hey, I'm doing a show about a successful businessman. You've had 6 major bankruptcies. You're one of the biggest losers in the business community. So all the successful businessmen won't come and do our show because they're busy running their successful companies. Can we hire you as an actor to pretend to be a good businessman? Trump's like, how did I get this lucky? Yeah, I'd love to do that. So his new dad, Jeff Zucker, gives him $400 million more. And then he blows that. And then here comes Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party and Biden and Kamala Harris. Hey, would you like the presidency a couple of times? He's like, just the luckiest man in the history of the world. Unbelievable. Yeah. Look at that Senate balance, 48-40. Bye-bye. Trump's going to have the Senate, and he's probably going to have the House. Ooh. If he wins, it's still not over. It's still definitely not over. But right now, he's leading. And every indication is bad. Sherrod Brown losing in Ohio is bad. Rick Scott winning instantly in Florida is bad. Iowa not being close is bad. Virginia being close when it shouldn't have been close is bad. The only slight ray of hope is Arizona. So I'm going to check back in with Arizona, and then you're going to tell me, oh, no, we lost the lead.
No, I mean, it hasn't really moved. He's still up by 0.2. It's taken a while.
Tony Vargas is up by about a percentage point in that House race on Don Bacon there. But again, that's...
well, that's good.
Yeah.
So our community director at TYT nearly beat Don Bacon in that same House seat, Cara Eastman. She's terrific. And by the way, she would have won, except for the fact that a Democratic incumbent in that seat, a former incumbent, betrayed her at the end and started doing ads for the Republicans. Why? Because Don Bacon's a corporate candidate. Cara Eastman was a true progressive. So the corporate piece of crap Democrat in Nebraska started doing ads for his true ally, the corporate Republican.
It's kind of amazing that my victory, which would be my 10th, would almost think I'm being damned rather than being praised, to serve with Donald Trump, a misogynistic crook, sexual offender, criminal, felon, found guilty, the worst person in the world. I mean, Keith Olbermann never imagined such a person. And the American people have put him in for a second term.
Well, not yet they haven't. Not yet they haven't, Congressman.
Not yet. Well, maybe not, but it doesn't look good.
No.
I need to stop watching MSNBC, which, Kornacki's going over all these numbers.
Congressman Cohen, if it turns out that she's not able to hold the blue wall, and at this point, she would need to hold all 3 of those states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
It's hard to say. I mean, I thought she ran a pretty good campaign, but I don't know that she was our strongest candidate. There's still probably a little antipathy towards a woman being president. And there's probably still some racial antipathy.
I got to say, I totally disagree. Barack Obama, after he won, after his inauguration, was an 83% approval rating. And so that there was a black guy with the name Barack Hussein Obama sitting at an 83% approval in the country. I think the Democratic Party has to look inward and not be focused on race and donors and all these things. But give me the very latest on the exact numbers in Wisconsin.
Okay, sorry, I was just going through the California ballot measures because there are a lot of them. In Wisconsin, right now we're at 76%. I think we're at the exact same as we were before. He's up by between 3 and 4 points, and we've still got a quarter of the vote to come in.
Okay, quarter of the vote to come in, could go either direction, but Trump's got the lead. Okay, that Trump has about a 75% chance of winning Wisconsin as things stand now. So if he wins Wisconsin, that is obviously a world of hurt and probably game over. Right now in Michigan, luckily it's only 56% reporting, but again, that's more than half. And he's got about a 6-point lead there.
In Michigan.
In Michigan. But oh my God, if Kamala Harris comes back at this point and wins, when the Trump people are absolutely convinced that they're going to win, and the odds are with them, oh, the Trump people would be furious.
I mean, they are celebrating right now.
Oh, of course they are. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
49.3% yes, 50.7% no to raise people's wages. So that's fun.
If we can't win on higher minimum wage, what can we win on? I mean, Jesus, that's a slaughterhouse.
Yes, 70% of the vote is in. Bear in mind, yes, 36%, no, 64%. As of right now.
No is 64%?
Yes.
Oh my God, so that got slaughtered. Okay, we're doomed. Speaking of doomed, Georgia has just been called for Donald J. Trump. So Georgia's gone. So now the hope that Arizona, Nevada can replace part of the blue wall still exists because it could replace a Wisconsin or maybe a Michigan. I'll have to do the math on it. It cannot replace Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is now mission critical.
Nevada and Arizona could replace either Michigan or Wisconsin, but Pennsylvania, if Pennsylvania goes, the presidency goes to Donald Trump.
Yeah, if Pennsylvania is called, it's over. Oh yeah, I hate the money in politics. I hate it, right? But Democrats are like, what? Money in politics is a problem? What do you mean? I just got $1 billion. How'd that turn out for you, Kamala Harris? How'd that turn out for your Democratic Party? And those guys, every donor of Donald Trump today is popping the biggest bottle of champagne you've ever seen. They're all going to get spectacularly wealthy, and it is going to be a gigantic robbery. So that's guaranteed. Lock it in.
Speaking of robbery, LA voters have approved Measure A, which implements an increase in a regressive sales tax to raise $1 billion for homelessness. The state has squandered $24 billion because the money gets funneled to nonprofits that don't have any interest in alleviating or solving homelessness. So it is amazing to me that we just voted to increase our taxes again when there's no strategy or real plan in place to house people. Like, it's unbelievable to me, but okay.
Yeah. They didn't house anybody. All the vacant lots, vacant buildings. We paid 3 times market value sometimes to those buildings. Look, they didn't investigate this enough. LA Times, let's go. What are you waiting for? Do some goddamn investigations. But I would be shocked if the owners of every one of those buildings is not a Democratic donor. I would be shocked, okay? Giant amounts of money funneled to all their donors, and we get no help. So we just wasted a couple more $1 billion in LA, that'll be great. All the CEOs are on my side. Dick Cheney's on my side. Liz Cheney's on my side. Every CEO's on my side. Oh my God, I love corporations. Don't worry, I'm not gonna do the price gouging plan. I'm not gonna do it at all. She's never gonna do the price gouging plan. They swear up and down on CNBC and all over cable news. So it's one thing to go, I have a good plan on housing, and then and here's my anodyne, normal, boring, dull ad on it, maybe, right? It's another thing to go, I'm gonna get those sumbitch Wall Street guys. Here's how much our housing prices were before private equity started buying up all the homes. Here's what they are now. Well, these guys are gonna drive us all out of the market. They're gonna take all of our homes and they're gonna turn us into renters and they're gonna make us work for them the whole time. Now, if you tell a Democrat that, they go, no, that's so uncivil. Don't do that, please, no, that's so uncivil, right? You know what that resonates with? The average American who didn't go to Yale with you, okay? And who isn't planning to be a lobbyist afterwards. Imagine if somebody said, I'm not gonna stand for it. We had houses, you're gonna have a house. And if I gotta go after every son of a bitch on Wall Street, then that's what I'm gonna do, okay? Oh, no way. There's a 0% chance any weak Democrat will ever do that for you. They'll never fight for you. They'll never fight for you. And that's why they keep losing to ridiculous, moronic clowns like Donald Trump. How do you lose to a guy like that? Twice. You think they'll learn anything? They'll learn nothing. Nothing. Nope. Nothing. And they would never do that because they're not that smart. I hear, oh, they're so smart. No, these Democratic leaders are simpletons. They're servants of the donor class. So they go in there, like, oh, donor, give me money, please. And I made an ad. I'm Kamala Harris. I'm full of joy. Okay, well, what did that get you? And they say, oh, Jake, you're too angry. Too angry? What? You think, does Donald Trump look like he's kind? Does he look like he's in a good mood? I mean, no, people want some sort of reaction from their politicians. They want them to represent them, to fight for them. But that has never occurred to a Democrat outside of Bernie Sanders, and probably we never will. So look, I have no interest in listening to a single Democratic politician ever again. They can go kiss my ass, they can do whatever they want, and we never listen to them anyway, and they hate us because we're right and they're wrong. They're always wrong, and they hate us for being right, okay? So, but they're not gonna learn. You have to beat them in a primary. That's your only hope. And so if you say it's super hard to beat them in a primary because of the lying sons of bitches on mainstream media who will smear you to no end, who will fight harder against progressives and populists than Republicans or Donald Trump or anyone else, well, brothers and sisters, nobody said life was fair. So we gotta go fight that mainstream media. We got to destroy that mainstream media that is filled with lies on top of lies about how the politicians are so honest. So as the voters, you have to understand, those guys have a vested interest in protecting their own ass and protecting their money and their privilege and their status. You need to fire them. They're not going to fire themselves. You think Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Kamala Harris, and all these people go, oh yeah, I got Jamie Harrison and Dancy, oh yeah, I guess we were the problem. You think the Democratic consultant class that have been robbing you blind this entire time is gonna go, oh, I guess we were the problem. No, you have to fire them. So the next time that some son of a bitch on MSNBC or in the Democratic Party tells you, oh no, be a good boy and girl, be civil, and vote for Democratic leaders, they know what they're doing. Those are the same goddamn liars that told you that Joe Biden was totally fine, that he was young and he was dynamic behind the scenes, and it wasn't a problem at all. At that point, he was down 8 points nationally. He was getting slaughtered. He was down by 18 in Iowa, and I could go on and on. They've been lying to you the whole time. If you're on the left, you're a Democratic voter. Wakey, wakey. I need to wake you up out of the hypnosis that you're in, that Morning Joe and The View and all of mainstream media has put you in. They're lying to you. Why do you think they keep losing? You think they keep telling you how smart they are and how they're going to deliver you victories. And all they ever do is deliver loss after loss after loss. So Democratic voters, snap out of it. These guys are obvious liars. Fire them all. Fire them all. And if you don't, okay, then keep losing to buffoons, to obvious con men like Donald Trump. Keep losing and losing and losing and never figuring it out. Here, I solved it for you. I figured it out. It's the goddamn corruption. All the stupid donor money, all it's ever done is lead to more losses. So if you don't fire them, you have no one to blame but yourself. Young Turks will be back.
We went to sleep in 2020 not knowing.
Yeah.
A very, very similar sort of thing.
Went to sleep in 2000 thinking that we did know too. You were probably asleep because your mom tucked you in that night.
Yeah, yeah. But right. I hope she didn't tuck me in. I was like a junior. But anyway.
More and more difficult to navigate that right now. And more than 232, 120. I'm terrible at math. But it's
You know who's probably secretly elated tonight?
Who's that?
Gavin Newsom. Look, I'm just gonna keep it real. Like, no one comes on this show and just talks out of their ass.
You could be a leftist doing your little cute stream and go, oh, dude, I know, man, and there's no crime. It's, yeah, I know everything. Well, then why did Prop 36 win easily? Why did George Gascon lose? Why did all the progressives, so-called progressives in Portland lose, in Seattle lose, San Francisco lose, New York lose? Why did you lose every goddamn election if you know so much?
This proposed amendment to California's Constitution would bar slavery in any form and repeal a current provision allowing involuntary servitude as a punishment for crime. It did not.
Okay, I got to say something about that.
Yeah.
Guys, that is a perfectly good proposition. It should have passed 80-20, okay? What do we want?
99-1.
Yeah, it should have passed 100-0. It's asking, hey, should we do slavery inside of jails? Of course we should do slavery inside of jails, right? So, but why did it fail? Because the Democratic Party in California has lost all credibility. So if the Democrats propose anything now, even the Democratic voters of California go, no. Oh, the Democrats say we should get rid of slavery in jails? No. NBC News, ABC News, and CNN have all called Pennsylvania for Donald Trump. This election is over. Donald Trump is going to be the 47th president of the United States, and he has won re-election. So buckle up, brace for impact. We're going to have 4 years of anarchy and chaos. My prediction, which is not a bold one, is they're going to rob the place blind. All of his donors are going to get everything they wanted. There's going to be almost no checks on him. Last time the establishment checked him. I'm not a big fan of the establishment, but they put some brakes in the car for Donald Trump, and he's a guy who needed brakes. Now there will be no brakes in the car. Steve Bannon's back. All of the ghouls and goblins of the first administration that stayed through all of his corrupt and ridiculous demands are back. None of the people who had any sanity are back. The Democratic leadership, the Democratic Party, the establishment Democrats, they did this to you. They lost to that buffoon twice. This Democratic leadership knows nothing. They know nothing at all other than donors. Please give us money. We'll do anything for you. We'll do anything. I'm begging you. Money was supposed to be a means to an end, which is winning. But they're not even bothering to win anymore. That was the most boring, terrible campaign I've ever seen by Kamala Harris. She spent some portion of the campaign hiding out in a basement. They put Tim Walz nearly permanent basement status. They said that Joe Biden had these amazing legislative accomplishments. They never ran on him. And so then when they don't deliver for the voters, they go, him, it was their fault. And I guarantee you after this election, do you think that Kamala Harris and the rest are going to learn their lesson? There's no chance of that. Instead, they will blame their voters first. They'll talk about, oh, the Arabs and the Muslims, they were the problems in Michigan. They'll talk about young black men didn't turn out. Oh, women should have turned out more. Oh, we Latinos, how dare they go with a racist Donald Trump? And then they'll say, oh, the country's too racist, the country's too sexist.
100%.
In fact, we had a Democratic congressman on today who said those very same things.
It's just, I'm so sick of the refusal to do any self-reflection at all and to lash out as if the electorate, like the onus is on the electorate to get them elected. Like they're entitled to the voters working for them.
The geniuses in the Democratic leadership did. They're not smart, they're not honest, they're not competent, they're not the best of us, they're the worst of us. If you don't change as Democratic voters, this is all you'll ever get. Loss after loss after loss. Eventually they'll just lose to like an actual literal baboon. And they'll be like, I don't know, I raised $2 billion from the donors. I didn't do anything at all, but I raised so much money. I don't know how the baboon beat us 4 times. Maybe an orangutan. I mean, he kind of is an orangutan, but anyway. Okay, so here's Trump. He's going to make a speech, obviously. This is going to be brutal. Dana White from the UFC is there. Obviously, Beavis and Butthead are there. Melania's there. Oh, even Tiffany showed up. I can't believe we let him back in the White House. He did a coup attempt against America, and we elected him president. That is how incompetent the Democratic Party is. How do you lose to a guy who tried to do a coup against America? Democrats are the most incompetent people on earth. All right, here we go.
God bless you and God bless America. Thank you very much.
Thanks God. Okay, so there you have it. Donald Trump has won the 2024 election. Let's hope that our graphic is wrong and that it's not the final election. You know that viral video you saw of me? First of all, it's bull. Second of all, they got it from a snippet of the live show. You should check out the live show so you see the full context of everything we say. Weekdays, 6 o'clock Eastern, Young Turks on YouTube or wherever you get TYT.